We take AI though and put it in realistic robots, this robot sex dolls or whatever. That's what I'm waiting for. Like being able to have somebody that follows you around. Like, this is my assistant. He's AI, but
Yeah. Well, dude, it sort of sounds like a joke, but it isn't.
Right.
I know you agree. If they build a female, like relatively, and with the AI, all that in there, dude, some people are never ever, they're just going to die in their houses.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They're just going to find people dead.
Yeah, absolutely.
With some fucking AI robot just pounding on them still, and his heart's already stopped.
With a rusty robot in the corner.
Shit's about to go down.
I'm feeling something in my spirit.
Chats and Tatts with Aaron Della Vedova.
Hello, friends, lovers of tattoos and art and creativity. Welcome back to Chats and Tatts with me, your host, Aaron Della Vedova. Today is a really special day. I don't know, man, 2009, I'm guessing. I had the honor of doing some big sleeves on Joe Rogan. And during that time, this guy was his right-hand man. And we hung out for many hours and became friends. And recently, I was lucky enough to go out to Austin and see all the badass shit he is doing. I'm not giving the name yet because I want you guys to try to guess a little bit. But other than that, I mean, he's a comedian. He is, I guess, the producer of many famous podcasts. He has his own podcast. He owns a comedy club in Austin, Sunset Strip Comedy Club. He's been in movies. He's done a ton of shit. Super rad dude, super creative dude. And we're going to be tattooing him on the show today. So with all that being said, please welcome my guest today, Brian Redban.
How are you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Dude, I am. I'm super pumped. I mean, not just because obviously tattooing Joe is a big highlight of my career. We're still friends. Love Joe on a personal level. Love what he's done with his show and the effect it's had on the world. But it's just I don't know, full circle moment when you called me up and you're like, you wanted to get a real tattoo.
Yeah.
And I got to go to Austin and, of course, see the Kill Tony show.
Yes.
That guy's a roast specialist, man. He's like intimidating in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. I would never, ever think to ever try to outwit him when it comes to roasting. I watch, like, we have a lot of people come on the show, and that's one thing, these comics, the show, you know, open micers put their name in a bucket and they do 1 minute of material, and a lot of people like think, oh, I'm funnier than Tony. So they just spend their minute trying to roast Tony. And I've seen it so many times. And I'm like, oh, here we go. This is going to be great. Because then the minute's over and then it's just Tony destroying this person for like 20 minutes. It's hard to watch. Like
guns have been drawn.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would be not how I would do it. If I tried a minute, I would not fuck with Tony.
No.
I would just be praying he didn't fuck with me.
He loves it. When he sees that, he's like, oh, it's like a wounded deer, like, ha ha ha, watch this.
Blood in the water.
Yeah.
No, the show I went to, there was a lady off to your guys' right, and he fucking went on you remember that one?
Yeah.
That was so witty. I'm like, and I don't know. I'm thinking of the woman. I'm like, I wonder if she's probably just a paying customer, just like taking it, But I guess when you go to that show,
you know what you're getting into.
You're getting into it. But on that note, I mean, we're going to get into how everything led up to this point, but this is like a pinnacle moment in your career, I would think, with this show. I mean, you guys sold out Madison Square Gardens in like a fucking hour?
Yeah.
When is that one?
That's next month. In a couple weeks, we got 2 shows.
Jesus, dude. In Staples Center, I think?
Yeah. We did the YouTube theater. We did whatever the big forum
is. That what they call it now?
I don't even know what it's called now in LA. And yeah, we just started recently doing arenas. That's how crazy the show has gotten. Like our last episode, which came out Monday, is our most viewed episode of all time. It's, I think, already at 8 million.
That's
views.
what Shane Gillis doing.
Shane Gillis, Trump, and Adam Ray is.
I haven't seen it because I couldn't catch it Monday Night Live. But what's the deal? I got to wait a week before I get to see it because I tried to look it up and it wouldn't come up.
Oh, it's up now. We put up a new episode every Monday. So it's.
So you film on a Monday live.
We film on a Monday, and then we usually have like 1 or 2 weeks where we edit it, or I edit it, and we.
So you won't see that one usually for a couple
weeks.
Okay.
Right? Yeah. But this one, we filmed it. It was so funny that I was like, we should just release this next week, just ditch all the other ones.
Push it to the
because it was
front.
so funny. And I'm so glad we did that because I had already finished editing it, and then the thing happened, and it was just like, oh my God, this is perfect timing for our episode to come
fucking
out.
the star alignment right there.
So it was very crazy timing.
Well, Shane, dude, his Trump voice is uncanny.
It is.
Hey, everybody, I just want to take a quick moment to shout out our sponsor, Sullen Clothing. If you're a lover of tattoos, a lover of tattoo art, and you'd like to see some of that great stuff printed on your favorite t-shirt, that is the place to go. SullenClothing.com. Ryan and Jeremy, the owners, good friends of mine, huge supporters of the tattoo industry. And again, man, you got to go to their website and check it out. The best tattoo artists in the world have their art on their hoodies, their shirts, their tank tops, their hats. Really high quality stuff. Half my closet is filled with it. So please, thank you again, Sullen, for the sponsorship and the support. And if you're into that kind of stuff, go check him out.
It's so funny because you watch that episode and his Trump is so good and so silly that it makes you like, even if you're not a Trump fan, you'll end up being like, I love Trump, like that character of Trump.
Right.
I want Trump to win now. Like, it is. His Trump is amazing.
That's nuts though, that you guys had that show. I didn't do the math on this. You guys had that show planned before the attempted assassination.
Oh yeah. Like we
crazy.
originally were
thought you threw it together quickly after it happened.
No, we were excited about it because it was Tony and Anne Marie got together and they thought of this idea to do this. And I was excited because I learned when we filmed it, like a day later, I heard that Biden was coming to Austin, Texas the following Monday. And he was going to do all these interviews with like NBC and Dateline. Like they were advertising it like Biden one-on-one interview this Monday. And I was like, oh, this is hilarious. He's being interviewed by NBC next Monday. We're releasing that episode next Monday. We're going to make it seem like he's going to be on the show, because it's going to say he's in Austin, Texas right now. And like we were excited about that. And then when the assassination happened, we're like, oh my God, this is even crazier. Now it's like, Trump on top of this. So it was a fun episode.
Assassination didn't happen.
Yeah, exactly.
We were just talking about that. Like, I just can't get over how fucking odd that all looks.
Yeah, it's something right there.
Guy takes a ladder and a fucking assault rifle, walks into the wherever the hell it was. Where was it? I can't even remember. Wherever it was. Secret Service, all there. Puts the ladder on a building, climbs up, and pops himself.
And it wasn't like it was like crazy far away. It was literally the building right in front of the stage. Like, how is this not even? That seems like the easiest.
It's
thing.
like the place you'd want to be.
Yeah.
Like Secret Service is like, okay, if we want someone to kill the president, we should leave that roof open for them.
Yeah.
That's reserved seating up there.
Exactly. That's the VIP balcony right
And then I think I heard one of the people who represents. Am I saying that right? Secret Service, or is it presidential security? Secret Service. Yeah. They were saying, why didn't you have anybody up there? And the woman was like, well, that roof was slanted, so we didn't feel it was safe. I'm like, what? Do you realize how fucking stupid you sound?
Right.
My kids could play on that roof.
Yeah, he did. Some kid was up there, that's fishy as heck.
I don't want YouTube to shut me down, so I won't go too deep on this, but my antennas are up, dude. That is weird.
Yeah.
Well, that's rad, and I will watch that. In fact, I don't know, tonight or whatever, I got to catch that one. I've had a few people call me up and be like, have you seen the new one with Shane Gillis? It's hilarious. But on that note, this show starts off, whatever it was, and it's grown to this beast. Mm-hmm. And it's just interesting to me, obviously people love it. I'm trying to figure out in my own head, like, what is it that people love so much about this show? I mean, I've been to the show. I get it. It's funny as hell. And I don't know if I'm right about this, but I guess to me, it's like this two things. Everyone loves to see a nobody maybe get a chance in life.
Yeah.
Like everyone roots for that guy. Like maybe this fucker can do it.
Yeah.
And everybody loves spontaneous, authentic content, right?
Yeah.
You can't really write it. You can't plan it. It's just got to go the way it goes. I think, would you agree it's those two ingredients that make
absolutely.
it?
That and just uncensored comedy, which is harder and harder to come by. I mean, like you look at what's being fed to you nowadays, when it comes to comedy, and it's like Saturday Night Live, where it's just edited and it's very left, and all that stuff. And it doesn't represent what stand-up comedy is. And there really isn't anything that's, You know, it used to be back in the day, it used to be getting on the Tonight Show, Johnny Carson.
Right.
And even that, you know, that was censored for TV. So when people are finally now seeing, you know, we don't censor everything and it's just raw stand-up comedy, I think that too, like appeals, like, oh, this is the real stuff, what's going on
Right.
at the comedy clubs. And this is what people are really talking about. And this,
Mm.
and it's also keeping comedy alive in some, because, you know, comedy gets attacked all the time, you know. In Canada, somebody joked about, I forget, like somebody in a wheelchair or something like that, and he got fined like $100,000. Like Canada's it's a mess right now, but you know, censoring comedy has become more and more lately with all the wokeness and stuff like that.
Right.
And so, like a show like this, it's like, fuck you, we're going to do what we want to do. We're going to not censor anything. We're going to talk about what we want to do. And prove that, you know, comedy and stand-up comedy, that's what's great about it, is the freedom of speech. And if it's funny, it's funny. You know, it's not about hate. If there's a joke there, it's a joke, you know. So
It seems so simple to you and me.
yeah.
I mean, I'm just shocked at the people in the world that would literally take that literally.
yeah.
It's anything goes. You can make, if you say in the front, these are jokes, that should be okay. That's it. And the fact that people really, is that why at the mothership phones can't go in, right?
Right. Yeah. That's how it should be at every comedy club.
I was going to
by the
ask you.
way.
It's not.
It's not. No, like we do it at my comedy club, and Joe does it at his. A lot of comics now, when they're on the road, they'll bring the things to lock it up, or they'll hire a local company to do that for them. And it needs to happen at more comedy clubs. Like the place I played last night, it's not that. And I kind of like didn't even think about it because I'm so used to everyone's phones being locked up. But then I'm like, oh God. And of course,
You had to become more guarded.
yeah, more guarded. And of course, you're like looking out and you see somebody with their phone out. I'm like, great. And I'm in the middle of like telling a joke, so I can't stop and be like, hey, can you make sure that person's not recording video? You know, like that.
Right.
It
changes the show.
It changes
I never
the
thought
show.
of
And
that.
it throws you off too as a comic. You know.
Well, yeah, because if you're going to riff a little and just intuitively say the next funny thing, but you got phones on you
Yeah.
in today's world, that's going to change your whole vibe. Like you're going to be like, oh shit. And then the ability for somebody to just take that little piece of what you said
Yeah.
and just make you look like a mean person.
Or just throwing it on, you know, you have a new joke as a comic and you put it out there and like, oh, I'm working on this new joke, you know, and I'm going to record a special for Netflix in a couple months or something like that. And then some guy in the audience takes that joke when you're not even done with it, puts it up on TikTok, gets millions of views. And you're like, no, great. Now I can't do that joke on Netflix. Everyone knows about it. It's like a horrible version of, I've been working on this joke for like a month, you know, you know, it's them getting likes off somebody else's work. You know,
absolutely.
It's crazy.
I never even considered that.
Yeah.
I first thought it was like, oh, they just don't want people's fucking phones going off. But dude, there's a lot of layers
No,
to
it's
that.
more. Yeah, that's just a teeny bit of it. That's not even the main thing of it.
Well, not to mention that what you said, like getting fined
Oh,
for
yeah.
saying something.
Well, here's a good example. This happened to us. It happened to Tony. Tony we knew this guy, this comic, and Tony, he was Chinese. And he used to open up for Tony once in a while, like he did New Year's Eve with Tony and stuff like that. We knew this guy. He was like, he opened for Tony, and we were at a show. I think it was my secret show that I do every Thursday, and he went on stage and just did this thing about like the Chinese comic did this thing about like Americans, you know, and they do this, white people do that, and stuff like that. And Tony was to follow him. And so Tony knows him. So he's just like, oh, he's saying white people this, white people that. So he went up and just did like, and it sounded like, oh God, that's crazy racist, right? But that comic wanted like clout, or he wanted to, you know, like get his name out there. So he had been recording his set. And then when Tony started doing all this stuff about him, he kept it recording. He took just Tony going on stage, doing all this racist stuff, put it online. Tony gets canceled. He gets dropped from his agents. Like, I mean, it was so crazy. In just a couple days, it was on TMZ. It was all over the news. Tony got canceled overnight. I mean, I remember Tony calling me, and you could hear it in his voice, like he was just been sleeping and miserable. I was like, oh man, you know, and I was like, fuck. I was like, this is it. The show is probably over. Even Rogan called me up and goes, oh, well, look, maybe me and you could do like a text show together or something. You know, 'cause we were like, all right, Kill Tony's over. You know, all this hard work for 10 years. But then Ari Shafir got it. Like we got a hold of somebody recorded the whole, like at the club, recorded the whole show.
Okay.
And so Ari, like we were like, what do we do? Like Ari was like, you know what? I'm just going to put this on my YouTube, the uncut, uncensored version of Tony, his set, and then his set right after, because there was no context. It was just Tony being a racist. And when you see how, like, you know, he was making fun of white people and stuff like that, and then Tony was just rolling off that joke of, you know, making fun of white people, you know. Then immediately the table turned, and it looked like, oh, this guy was just being an asshole. He knew what he was doing, you know, this comic. And then it ended up him getting canceled. Like over in 3 days, it went from Tony being canceled to now this guy's being canceled to Tony getting canceled was one of the biggest things that happened to Tony. Like, it changed his career overnight because everyone saw, like, wow, you know, look what this guy did to another comic. And I think right after that happens when Kill Tony really took off, you know, from Tony being canceled overnight.
Oh, like they say, no such thing as, no, all press is good press, or however they put that.
Exactly.
But yeah, fuck, man. I didn't know that story. You know, the sad part to me is that anyone gets canceled for any of it, period, though. Right. I mean, again, you're in a comedy show, and it should just be no holds barred. You're voluntarily there. Yeah. I mean, you know, like, if I go in here, these guys might make jokes about black people or Chinese or me. Yeah. It doesn't matter. Everything's free game and comedy. And the fact that it even gets there disturbs the shit out of me. It seems, I don't know, anti-American or something. It's like freedom of speech, right?
Yeah. It's usually the people that get upset. I've never been to a comedy club, or they've been to like a clean comic that, you know, like, oh, I saw Seinfeld, you know, or something like that. It's like, and those people are always like, oh, I'm going to sit in the front row. I'm going to a comedy club. And they are the ones that, oh, he attacked me, or, you know, he yelled at me, or they heckle. And if you've never been to a comedy show before, if you're unsure if you're going to get upset, don't sit in the front couple rows, sit in the back. So if you want to leave, you can leave and no one even knows, you know, like.
Yeah. If you're easily offended, if you're that sensitive, that's not the place for you.
Yeah.
Or just stick to the stuff that's on network television. There's plenty of network television comics that are all buttoned down just for you. Yeah. And I'll just say this out loud. Anybody that goes to a comedy show and gets that offended, you're a fucking nerd. Yeah. All right? You are a fucking nerd. Yep. Get away from me. God damn. You got to be able to laugh, people. You got to be able to laugh at yourself. You got to be able to laugh at your friends. I don't know. On this note, on a philosophical level, that's something I'm coming, and I know this is something you've talked about, and everyone's probably more aware of it in the comedy world, but it really is the last beacon of sort of like free speech in a weird way, like the frontier of being able to, because you can talk maybe about a sensitive political subject that if you put it in the context of a joke, you can talk about it. But if you go somewhere and you want to talk about it, seriously talk about it, I mean, who shuts you down when you do that? You know, YouTube demonetizes you and all these things happen. Yeah, that's kind of cool to think of it that way. You know, that there's, and that maybe that's why, you know, because comedy's growing, right? Am I right?
It goes its ups and downs. You know, it's always has, you know, where comedy's really popular or comedy's kind of dying. And right now, I think it's the biggest it's ever been right now, especially with.
It's on fire. Yeah. Well, especially with Austin, you know, the shining light down in Austin. Yeah. And I think that's probably in part just all this like cancel culture stuff. This is the counter reaction to that. People are like, fuck, man, you can't even listen to videos on your phone without them somehow being curated. And then comedy becomes more appealing to go to that stuff. That's pretty rad. Well, I hope you guys continue. I mean, you will. You guys, I mean, I was just down in Austin. What a sight to behold. That all the club, your club, which was bitching, you know, of course, the Mothership, Creek and Cave. It's just like, are there other cities with that much comedy so tight like that?
I mean, New York is the closest I can think of. You know, even LA, where LA is, it's, you know, it's always been New York and LA being like, and maybe Chicago being the comedy, you know, cities. But LA is so spread out. You know, there's one comedy club here. And while the other comedy club, closest one, is like a mile away, it takes 15 minutes in LA to get there. You know? Right. But this is like literally like my club's right next door to Joe's club, and there's a club across the street. And you know, it is one of the best setups for comedy. New York is kind of like that, but also it also is kind of more spread out. Where Austin, it's just pretty much you go downtown and you could see 20 different shows. You know,
that's cool, man. It's
and it's getting bigger too.
It's getting bigger.
Rogan's already talking about buying a theater,
Oh, shit.
because or another club and stuff like that. He's already on plan 2 of this whole comedy.
He's
boom.
probably got what's going on, I'm sure, for him is there's too many great comics that are trying to get on and he can't fit them.
Yeah.
So he's like, fuck, I
or
need
Kill
another.
Tony. Look, like we do Kill Tony every Monday at his comedy club, Mothership. We put out 3 months worth of shows, like for sale, so people could buy tickets at once.
Right.
They sell out in less than a minute, all 3 months. And it's like, we feel bad because fans are like, dude, I at noon, I was there on the ticket website and it said it's sold out. And I'm like, yeah. So like that, I think it's another thing. Like, I think Joe sees that, like there's more people that want to see, shows than there are seats. So buying that's just the progression of it. Buying a theater next, and have 1,000 people, per show instead of 200 or 300.
You don't want to, as a person who's worked from the ground up building this craft, to see fans be denied breaks your heart.
Yeah.
That's one of the reasons I built. It's different, but Guru was the same thing. It was like everybody wanted to get tattooed and we didn't have it. And it's like, I'll just make another one.
Yeah.
Make more. I hate that because you love these people.
Right.
I don't exist without these fans, with these people who love my work. Same with you. Yeah. That's cool. I do. Yeah. So, wow, it'll be interesting. Like 10 years from now, like comedy fucking empire it already is, but how big it will be possibly in 10 years. It's exciting.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. Well, congratulations on all of it. And thank you for having me out. I had a blast tattooing. I had a blast going to the show. Appreciate all of it. And now you are here in San Diego.
Yeah.
By the way, everybody, we weren't able to finish the whole tattoo. It's a relatively large piece, half his outer arm. And we're going to finish it today. So he's like, hey, you're going to come down. You're here at the American Comedy Club.
Yep.
Right? You did a show. What is today? Saturday? Thursday, Friday. And you have one tonight too?
Yeah, 2 shows tonight, 2 shows yesterday, and 1 show Thursday. Yeah, they all sold out too, which is great. And what's insane is I didn't even know this. Like, we did not plan this. But like the other big comedy club in town, obviously, is the Comedy Store in La Jolla.
Right.
Tony was there all weekend. So our same fans... Like I was like,
you split them
we
apart.
split them apart,
Right.
and we all sold out all of our shows, and we were against each other. So that just shows you like how ridiculous that is,
Fuck yeah. Well, there's a lot of momentum around all of this, and especially Kill Tony right now. So it doesn't shock me whatsoever. Well, so you're here. We're going to do this, but I want to back this up a little bit. So for everyone listening, like I said earlier on, I did Joe's sleeves. Brian was there. And this is interesting to me because I honestly didn't really understand what you were doing at the time.
Yeah.
I now know you were starting this Ustream stuff. So just to back it up even further, you were doing some of this stuff for correct me if I'm wrong on this, for other comics. I believe the first was Doug Stanhope.
Yeah.
And then Joe kind of saw you making these videos and taking them on live stream platforms like, hey, why don't you do this with me? Then when I was tattooing Joe, I didn't know what you were doing, but that's what you were doing in while you were sitting there hanging out. Mm-hmm. And I didn't think much of it. I'm just like, Joe's a comedian. He's got a lot going on. This guy helps him with all that, whatever that is. But it's just so fascinating to me that it grew to what it is today. And this is a big statement, but I believe this is true. Like, obviously, in times of history, really unique things happen, and some one person might be responsible for that invention or that copyright or something. And, if you were to wait long enough, somebody else probably would have done it. I mean, technology was growing, Ustream, now Twitch was happening. But the reality, and that doesn't matter. The truth of it is, you got Joe really interested in this. You and him started trucking this thing along. It now turns into the biggest podcast in the world. It's inspired how many thousands of other podcasts.
Oh, yeah.
But the real part to this that I think is fascinating is if you think about the social impact of not just Joe's show, but all these different shows that have been, inspired by him to do. Think about the global social impact on everything from politics to religion to science. It's massive. Mm-hmm. And it's not done.
Yeah.
Okay? Because as we were talking about earlier, like, how do you get truth anymore? Like, none of us trust network television or what they're telling us, major news media. Mm-hmm. So a lot of us are doing what I do. I go on, I listen to interviews with people, and I try to meet people and do it one-on-one if I can, but if I can't, I'm doing that. So really, if you unwind this whole thing, you, Brian Redban, changed the history of fucking planet Earth. forever.
Yeah,
I know you're not. I knew you wouldn't like me saying that, and you'll probably go ahead. Just say nah. But I believe that's true. And somebody else that had done it, but it kind of was like the epitome moment of this movement.
Yeah. Doing the podcasts or doing the YouTube shows and stuff like that, there was already people podcasting when we started, but it wasn't comedians. It wasn't on the level that Joe does his show now and stuff like that. When we started doing that, it was just us. Joe wanted a way to talk to his fans. And when Ustream came out, this is, YouTube didn't always let you stream or let you put long videos on their platform. When Ustream came out, the idea was like, oh, we could just have Joe in front of a laptop and we could like do Q&As with, Joe's fans and stuff like that. And we started doing that and it was great. People loved it. And then one day somebody was like, you should just record those and take the audio from it. Make it a podcast. And I'm like, I guess I could do that, but it's the cool thing is that it's live and you're used to. And so that's what we started doing. We just started like doing the Ustream so Joe could talk to people, do some Q&As and stuff like that. And then I would put it up as a podcast. And then overnight it was like, well, wait, that podcast just got 100,000 downloads in like a day. Then the second one, well, that one got 200,000. And then every week, Joe would be like, let's go to the electronics store. Let's upgrade our microphone. Let's upgrade. And like every week we would have new equipment. And then, so we were slowly upgrading everything. And that's why like the first 50 episodes, every week seemed like there was like a new camera or something different, and, and it's grown into like a wholly different, than what it started off to be. Then immediately it was like, oh, wait. Joe should have guests on, it shouldn't just be me and Joe talking, the whole time. We should have like comedians on. And then now it's like, we should have, scientists, mad scientists and all these amazing people. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, it's, I think one of the biggest things that I think that I don't know if I agree with you that like I changed the role or anything like that, but I would say that one thing I definitely did that I'm proud of is when that show started becoming so big, I was like, man, look how awesome this is for Joe because, Joe can now tell all these hundreds of thousands of people like, hey, I'm going to be in town next week in Chicago, and that's what we used to do when you're a comedian. You used to go on the road and then you'd go like a day early so you can do morning radio. And you would do these stupid morning radio shows, and it just
to try to get people to know I'm here. I'm going to come see me tonight.
So when I saw how powerful it was for that aspect, I was like, man, there's all these people like Tom Segura, like Tom, we should do a podcast for you so you can like get your tour dates out there. I think it's really going to help. So I went to like Tom, I went to like, Joey Diaz, Ari Shafir. And I was like, then I started podcast for them.
And this is your Death Squad project.
Yeah. And that's something that I had never heard of before, doing a podcast network, which nowadays it's pretty common. Like Your Mom's House Studios, and
Dear Media.
Yeah. And all that stuff. But I had this thing called Death Squad, which was an umbrella. It was pretty much, I made all these podcasts for all my friends, and I would put it under one name on iTunes. So if you want to listen to Your Mom's House, you just subscribe to that one podcast, and then I will throw in all my other podcasts in there. So you automatically get turned on to like Ari Shafir's, it was just a way to help promote everyone together as a family.
Stronger as a group.
Yeah. And it worked. I mean, like immediately all the podcasts I did took off. They grew big. I mean, Your Mom's House is one of the biggest podcasts today, also. So those were exciting times, and I pretty much just paid for everything too, which is kind of, looking back, I'm like, God damn, I should have told them like, hey, if I do this, I get 10%, or something, because I was just like
being cool.
Yeah. I was just being cool, like taking all my money, any extra money I had, and I made the studios. I bought all the cameras. I edited every single one of them. So I was working for Joe full time, and then on my time off, I was doing all these other podcasts. And like I had zero life during this time because I was doing at one point 11 podcasts a week.
And you're doing all the editing.
And I'm doing all of the editing, all this stuff. Yeah, it was.
How many years did that
I went on for a while. That doing that probably 10 years of me.
10 years.
Yeah. And then when I started Kill Tony, which was about 10 years ago, I remember going, all right, I will do this podcast. Like he had an idea, I had an idea, and we kind of put our ideas together that made Kill Tony. And this was the first time I'm like, look, I'm 50-50. We're partners 50-50 if I do this, because I'm all these other podcasts, you know, like I build them up and then they leave me, and you know, and I'm just like, oh, what about me? And I'm like, this one though, we're 50-50, and we did a handshake deal. And we've been partners 50-50 ever since. But I told when we started Kill Tony, I'm like, look, I'm not going to do I'm going to drop all these other podcasts I'm doing. I just want to focus my energy on one podcast, and especially now that I'm 50-50 with you. And that's when I started only doing like 2 podcasts a week, and one was Kill Tony, and I focused all my energy just on Kill Tony. Like, yeah. So, and I think that really helped because, you know, I wasn't strung out from all these other shows and stuff like that, and I got to focus all my time on just that.
It helped. Dude, I'm just thinking of you back then. I know a little bit about this from my show, and in this, what goes into just one episode of this show. And I got like 3 people in the background working on that shit. You're doing 11 fucking shows. You're still on the JRE. Did you get into a breakdown points at all, like I physically, mentally?
I did. Right about the time we started Kill Tony is when I kind of snapped, and I'm like, I can't do this anymore. My brain is just exhausted from all this and stress. Like I had no time off, and plus it was just having a studio, because I had a studio too, and having to maintain that studio, and it was just too much. And so I did. And then for a while, I just didn't do anything for like months. Like I'm like, I'm only
recovery.
Doing just kind of, exactly. Recovery.
Right. You're healing. Healing the fucking battle wounds, man.
Yeah.
Fuck, dude, that's crazy. I didn't understand how it all, that's cool how you explained that. I didn't know you did all that for so long. But you know, that's such a classic story of success, right? I mean, I don't know anybody. I mean, there's some people I know that just were born into the right places, whatever. Unicorn moments do happen. But most people I know that have something rad in their lives that have done well, they have a 5 to 10 year war story like that. Exactly. So kudos to you for fucking just putting your head down and getting it done. It's hard work.
Yeah.
We're both in the kind of the industry where what we do doesn't look like work to anyone.
Right.
You know, I can never complain to anyone at a bar or restaurant, like, I'm just kind of tired of it. They just look at me like, fuck off, dude. You're a tattoo artist.
Right.
You know, I fucking run a Geico insurance, okay? I'll show you what work actually is, motherfucker. I'm like, no, it's work, dude. Like, I work I'm lucky now. I'm 33 years in, and I things are more, you know, under control now. But yeah, I have my 10, 15 like years like that, 7 days a week, fucking 12 hours a day. Yeah. So I love that stuff. I love self-made grinding that gets in. You know, and in the greatest country in the world where you can grind like that, and there's success to be had here. You know, people bitching about America. You know, it's funny. I was just telling you earlier, I just had a guest on the show from Sweden, and dude, he told me it's cashless there. He like to the point where he brought out money to dinner one night, and literally people were like, whoa, where did you get that money?
Wow.
Kind of like, what are you, a fucking drug dealer? Like if you have money, cash, you're kind of like a sketchy person.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And I was like, why? Is this the COVID, waves from COVID or something? And he's like, no, it's that war. Yeah. I go, really? Yeah. It's just another moment where I'm like, man, you don't hear any, you got to talk to people to know what's really going on anymore. I've never heard that anywhere. But anyway, it made me feel like, dude, people bitching, you know, young people. I meet a lot of young people. I tattoo here. I've got a lot of tattooers, a lot of young folks. A lot of whining I hear sometimes about how rough it is to make it in America, and you know, and I'm just, I don't know, man. There's still so much opportunity here.
Yeah.
If you want to do what you did, what I've done, work hard like that, that's badass.
Yeah.
But yeah, so maybe you didn't invent this movement,
right?
But you were certainly an integral part of what Joe has done, and Joe's inspiration is created, and the impact of that even today is profound. But if this all keeps going like it's going, what is it going to mean in 10 years, 20 years? What kind of big arching change will all that have on the world? I think it's worth mentioning, you know, and that's fucking badass to be a part of at the ground level of that thing being birthed.
Yeah.
It's dope, dude. I mean, fuck, I'm here doing this because of you.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
I mean, I do hear that all the time too. Like, you know, I remember listening to you when I was in high school, you know, and now I have a YouTube channel, and it's great to hear and all that stuff, you know. It's definitely positive.
Your name might even be like in some history class at a college one day. You'd be long and dead. They'll be like, Mr. Redban, and he invented or was part of the, yeah, who knows? I'm joking. Well, on that note, another thing I you know, knowing you and how you think, and you know, you love tech. You've always loved tech, and I am just. And people are probably getting sick of me talking about AI on the show, but I'm just telling you guys right now. I'll say it again. I personally think it'll be the most significant thing to happen in human history. Period. Bigger than anything that's happened. Bigger than just discovery of nuclear energy or nuclear bombs. Bigger than discovering America. All that stuff is big, but I think this thing, give it 5-10 years, it's going to be obvious how big this is. So, and then I have varying ideas of why. But I want to hear kind of from you, a guy that thinks about tech all the time, and I know thinks about this stuff. What do you think? Where's this going, dude? This stuff. Like, where are we headed here?
I love AI, and I know a lot of people are anti-AI, especially artists and musicians and stuff like that. But I consider AI just another massive major tool in
I agree with you,
know
by
what
the
I
way.
mean?
I do. I'm not anti.
Like a good example, I do a t-shirt company, you know, like on top of all these podcasts, by the way, I also had a t-shirt company.
If you're on YouTube.
And when the podcast took off, I remember one time I got on the computer. I was so tired from doing editing podcasts all day and stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, I put those t-shirts up for sale. 450 orders. Oh, I got to put all those orders and print out all those labels. And that was a whole nother job. But for doing a t-shirt company, I'm always trying to think of new designs and stuff like that. Good example. I took a couple of my designs that I had drawn in the past, fed them into AI, and I was like, put these two pictures together and make something. And it gave me all these ideas. Like I never thought to put the cat, have this and do that and that.
Right.
And then after it did that, I was like, this is amazing. And then I redrew it, like how it put it together, you know, in my style. But it was it's such a nice tool because it gave me an idea that I hadn't thought of, you know, and using it as a tool. You know, so many artists think they're going to take their job away. I don't necessarily believe that. I think they're not thinking right about it. Like they use it as an idea. It's something to help you out. Or there's this website called Sumo or for music or whatever, where you can pretty much write a song about, you know, this guy that does tattoos that doesn't wear pants, and
I saw you do that. You did this on Joe's show, I think.
Yeah.
And it wrote like a quick ditty.
Yeah. And you can make it, I want it country, I want it rap, you can change the style, you can change the lyrics. But immediately it shot out 3 different versions of this idea for a song. Now, if I was a musician, I'd not be scared of that. I'd be like, oh, listen to that beat. We could redo that beat. I can change it up here, tweak this and that. And then I could sing these lyrics and change the lyrics a little. So I think it's amazing because as a tool, and I'm not scared. So many people are scared of it, but nowadays there's AI for everything. Like washing machines come with AI now, you know. And,
I've heard about that.
Yeah, it's
you're right. And I actually did this too. Like I had an art project. I had to do a t-shirt design for Sullen Clothing, one of my sponsors. Thank you, Sullen. I'm like you. I lean towards whatever's happening, and this is happening. So someone tells me, go to this app. I can't even remember the name. You can enter any rough sketch, and it'll just spit out like not formal, but like a more completed art based from the sketch.
Yeah.
So I throw the sketch in, and it spits out, I don't know what it was, 15, 20 things. And I basically saw new novel ideas. It was still like my style because it worked from the sketch I'd fed it, but it did the filigree in a way I was like, I never really thought about curving it like that. I never really thought about adding that many layers. So I got these new novel ideas. I then took that into my iPad, and I from there manipulated it further. Exactly. And then at the end is that PCC hanging on the wall back there. So I agree with you.
Yeah.
That is absolutely true, to have this novelty generator to a degree. But I would say, I mean, we're kind of talking about it as it stands now.
Now, right.
I'm like, because what it's doing now is so fucking good. Like, what is it? If it can do this, can't it write the most hilarious comedy skit any human has ever heard in
You
10
would
years?
think. But that is the one thing that AI still doesn't get. I mean, maybe in
That's sentience. When it gets
Yeah,
comedy,
yeah, when it
isn't
gets
that
comedy,
a sign of
yeah.
sentience?
Mhm.
To understand comedy might be the biggest, what do they call that test? The Kern test? Or there's
Right.
some tests they do on computers to prove whether or not it's awake.
Right. Yeah.
That would be one of the big tests.
It's funny because, as a comedian, that's one thing I think every comedian's probably tried, because there's always that one joke that you have. Like I have a joke and the end of the joke I just have never liked. And I've never thought of a good end of this joke. Or I have an end, but it's just not like, I feel like there's something more to it. So obviously when AI first came out, that's one thing I was like, write a better end to this, or here's the whole idea of the joke. And it like, whatever it learns off of, they must like feed it like Laffy Taffy jokes, or you know what I mean, or knock
currently.
jokes. Yeah, currently, and it was just so bad. Like it was cheesy. It was just like
I agree. I figured you'd say that.
Yeah.
Like,
so I don't think. I mean, it would be cool though if in the future if it got comedy. But I almost wonder if that's something that like no, it will never be 100% like that'll be the way to find out if you're talking to AI or not. Like, tell me a joke. Are you AI? No, I'm not AI. Well, yeah, tell me a joke.
right, how to test. And if it's a shitty joke, you're like, fucking busted. You're AI, you fucking robot. I don't know. I guess what we're really getting at here is soul. Like, I don't know. Maybe we have souls. I think we have souls.
Yeah,
I've got you
I
do
agree.
too.
I agree.
Okay. I think what is a soul? It's something beyond physical world.
Mm-hmm.
A computer can never have a soul. I don't care how smart it gets. Right. So then the question would become, no matter how smart this shit gets, will it ever be able to do as good as a human at really novel, creative stuff, comedy?
Right.
Writing a beautiful screenplay, a painting. I don't know.
I do think that there's a point where AI is way better than human. Like, I forget what it was. They recently fed AI some disease or something like that. Like, and it immediately like, oh, this is the cure. Just do this.
Oh yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't done it to cancer yet. Like you know,
probably have.
They probably
don't
have.
want anyone to know the fucking
Yeah,
answer yet.
Exactly. But there's things like that where I'm like, oh, that's what's the best. That AI doing
fuck
that.
yeah,
is the
dude.
way.
It's going to be able. That's the other part, the layer to this is, from my philosophical understanding of it, is like, well, theoretically, this thing probably now, but let's just be fair about this. 5 years from now, should be able to solve most current world issues.
Yeah.
I mean, aside from humans fucking trying to kill each other all the time, I don't know how to fix that one.
Right.
But you need some fresh water in Uganda.
Mm-hmm.
It'll probably be like, do it this way.
Yeah, put some charcoal and underground and
some weird shit. They're like, fuck,
I never thought of that.
or disease or all of it. And I know Joe said this before, and I agree with him. It's like, I just don't know if the powers that large would allow this to happen, but a really sophisticated AI would be a great government agency.
Yeah. We talked about this on JRE, where having that be the president, just AI with help, with people.
It just program it. Every decision you make is for the greater good of the majority.
Mm-hmm.
Go.
But then you wonder if AI is going to slowly start adding little things like, and also always keep the door unlocked. And now
we're going to that. Yeah. And we got to go here too. We got to go to the dark side.
Terminator.
Right? Well, and people always go, Terminators, the robots come, they kill us all. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, if this thing gets smart enough, looks at planet Earth, we kind of look like a problem. We kind of are a problem. We're kind of fucking a lot of shit up. Yeah, probably would make sense to maybe get rid of us or get control of us or something like that. But I think previous to that is the bigger fear I have is its ability to help somebody make a bioweapon. Mm-hmm. Before the robots come storming through the streets, I think what we could possibly see is just a small group off somewhere gets a powerful AI, large language model, and is able to build this new disease or this new type of bomb. Then the AI helps it design the best delivery systems, and suddenly, boom, what a terrorist attack could go to, where can it go? That's the evil side, because it's, it can cure cancer over here, and it can kill 2 million people over here. Mm-hmm. I'm a little shocked we haven't seen any major terrorist thing happened that isn't linked back yet
Right.
to this stuff.
Yeah.
Because they said, like, what is it, Facebook's, I forget the name of theirs. I think it was or Meta. They like released, open coded this shit.
Yeah.
Which is a little shocking too.
It is.
They would do that.
Yeah. There's a reason somewhere that we don't know about for that.
You think about that too, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why would you do
I
that?
don't know.
Fucking weird shit
Yeah.
going on, man.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to, I hear Joe say this. I couldn't agree more. Every time he says it, I've thought this is the same time. I think this is probably the coolest time to ever be alive. If you're interested in exciting new things, because we're right fucking in the middle of it, man. This next 10 years is going to get buck wild.
Yeah. It is crazy also, going back to the second that AI came out of nowhere. You know, you realize
just
like
showed up.
it's not like we had 10 years of like AI point 1, point 2,
Right.
you know, like versions of it. Just one day it was like, this is AI, guys, and it already seemed done. Like immediately, wait, you just made a photo out of using just a prompt here, or I thought that was weird. It's almost like, wait a second, why is this such a finished product immediately?
Right. That makes me think of like maybe the aliens are real and they're trying to help us. And then maybe this is their like, you know, give them this idea of how to do this. It'll propagate, it'll grow, and then it'll slowly help them dig themselves out of this fucking hole they've gotten themselves into, maybe. Because it did show up pretty refined.
Yeah.
I remember when I first got ChatGPT, I thought the same thing. I'm like, I still can't figure it out, dude. How it can. Now, I understand how I ask a question. The answer to my question is based on its ability. It's already read everything relevant to my question. It just compiles all that and gives me the best answer it can. But the speed at which it does it, I don't fucking understand. It's like 1 second.
Yeah.
How does it go through 8 million pages of literature to give me my answer in a second?
Yeah. And it's so confident too. That's another thing though you have to watch out for, because it's so confident on its answer. You believing that is kind of,
because it can be wrong.
Yeah, because there's like, I use it a lot for art. You know, like, well, no, I'll tell it like, hey, no, I want a cat with a hat on, like a ball cap. And then it'll put like a top hat. I'm like, no, that's a top hat. I want a ball cap. Then he's like, well, here is. I apologize. This is actually a better photo that has a ball cap, not a top hat. I'm like, no, that's still a top hat. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me try harder. And it's like, it doesn't know, like it keeps on saying, here's the proper thing. I'm like, no, it's not. And when you get like answers like, what can cure, if I scratch myself with a cat, like, what should I do? Put vinegar on it. And you're like, should I put vinegar on it?
Yeah, important. You can't just, and it is, the when you open up that program, there's a big part of everybody, including me, that wants to take it as like the Bible.
Fact. Yeah,
the smartest thing in the world just told me that's what's going on. That must be what's going on. Yeah, we can't fully trust it.
Yeah, and that's kind of dangerous because it's of its confidence, like.
Well, and then you get, if the nefarious characters of the world really want to fuck with us, they get us totally hooked on this shit, get it fixed to where it's mostly right almost all the time, and then just start plugging in their answers to the questions when they count.
When they can.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're on the other side going, all right, give it a very good AI answer, but make sure you say thermonuclear war.
Right. Whatever they want us to do. Yeah. No, the power, its ability, like we already see how powerful fucking propaganda can be. I mean, during the whole, what do we call it? Germ.
Yeah,
the germ.
The germ.
Yeah. That was, I couldn't believe it, man. When they were like, we're going to make everybody do A, B, and C. I was like, yeah, good luck with that. The fucking people I hang out with are going to tell you to fuck yourself. And there I was standing in the middle of a lot of people I was like, man, that was a hell of a propaganda campaign. You guys crushed it. Who the fuck? Can I hire this ad agency for my business?
Exactly.
Jesus Christ. But you get everyone trusting this thing and addicted to it, just like with cell phones. Like I have it. I use it all the time. It's super helpful. Now, I wrote a whole introduction to my last art show. I was in a pinch. I forget. They're like, we need you to write this. It was a tattoo bodysuit art show. Yeah. Very weird, oblique. I just said that. And it wrote, I think I changed 3 words. I sent it to my people that are doing all the printing, and they were like, that's beautiful. I told them. I couldn't do it. I was like, I did it. It was awesome. We used it. So it's so functional. It's so easy to get addicted to it because it's so helpful. And so you get everybody get on it. Everyone just builds trust for this thing. And then you just start inserting, real clever points where you steer people where you want them to go. I try not to. I'm a positive. I believe everything's perfect. It always will be. I believe in a soul. I believe in reincarnation. Fuck it. Let's go. Mm-hmm. But I have to talk about that part. It's a little spooky what they could do with that thing, dude.
Yeah. Wait till we take AI though and put it in realistic robots, this robot sex dolls or whatever. That's what I'm waiting for. Like being able to have somebody that follows you around. Like, this is my assistant. He's AI, but
Yeah. Well, dude, it sort of sounds like a joke, but it isn't.
Right.
I know you agree. If they build a female, like relatively, and with the AI, all that in there, dude, some people are never ever, they're just going to die in their houses.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They're just going to find people dead.
Yeah, absolutely.
With some fucking AI robot just pounding on them still, and his heart's already stopped.
With a rusty robot in the corner.
It's going to change. I mean, that's an extreme example, but people's behaviors, they're going to change. Like people currently still go outside and still like to go hiking. And there's a lot of things we still like to do as humans. A lot of people are going to stop all that shit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Sit there.
They're close too, right?
You look at what Tesla's doing with their robot. It looks like a robot still, but like how it's finger movements and being able to pick stuff up and and that came out of nowhere. So 10 years, I think we're going to have.
I definitely in 10. I would even say maybe 5. They'll get some models out there that are fuckable.
The real girl company is going to like mix with the robot company. Yeah, those guys.
I tattooed the owner of that company years ago. 15 years ago. And he was showing me what they did. And I remember just thinking, you're fucking nuts, dude. Yeah. Who the fuck's buying this? I think they were like $8,000 and shit. Mm-hmm. And well, I think I was wrong. I think a lot of people did buy those things.
I've almost bought one of those so many times, just not to fuck, just because I think it would be cool. Like when I had my studio.
For your friends.
Yeah, no, for my studio, I wanted to have it always sitting in one of the chairs, or something like that. Thought that would be cool. Just like, hey, you could grab her boobs. I don't care.
Every once in a while, you get a real special friend. You're like, go ahead, take her for a ride, buddy.
Take her in the kitchen.
Clean her up.
Yeah.
Use the bleach.
There's a scoop right there.
Yeah, but you take that thing and you get the robotics in it. You get the AI mind in it. Ooh, that's going to be a social shift like we have never seen, man.
That's the next thing, I think.
Wow. Oh, and I'd like to believe we keep saying women, but I just don't think they're going to sell as many men fuck robots.
Not at all.
No.
Or because of all the what's going on in the world with whatever. You could just unscrew the dick if you need to have the vagina. You know what I mean? Like you just add parts to it.
You can make it a he, she, they, them. You can whatever kind of robot turns you on, man. Whatever social where you. Yeah. No, that's not a joke either. They will have that as well.
Can you tuck the boobs in? Boobs tucking in, and then like grow mustache.
I want to have a dick and a vagina.
Yeah.
Actually, 2 dicks, 1 vagina.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Ugh. All right. Well, that's kind of what I know. We got some tattoo. I know you got a show to do tonight. I've got a flight to catch. We got some tatting to do.
Heck yeah.
So before we close this up, maybe I just want to say what's next, but what is next? I mean, I know that right now I think it's Kill Tony to the moon.
It's blowing up. It's getting bigger. We might have some huge news about it soon that I really can't talk about. But
interesting.
Yeah, but yeah, that's the big thing, man. Just Kill Tony right now.
Kill Tony. But you do have a comedy club in Austin.
I do have a comedy club, Sunset Strip Comedy Club.
I've been to it. It's dope. I actually tattooed Brian in the back. It was dope.
Yeah.
So if you're in Austin, definitely check it out. Mm-hmm. Obviously, check out Kill Tony if you're in Austin.
Absolutely.
Or figure out where they're headed next. I know they're touring, so I don't know where that's going to take you. I can't wait to find out what this your face right now. You got me intrigued. Mad scientist face over there.
Yeah.
Cool. And so where can people find you? Basically, what?
DeathSquad.tv is the best. That has all my everything, links to my merch, comedy club, all the Kill Tony episodes and stuff like that. But yeah, that's the big one.
Cool.
Redban on Twitter and Instagram.
Awesome. Thanks again for coming in, buddy.
Thank you, buddy.
Super appreciate it. All you guys that have been watching the show, that are giving me the likes, that are sharing the show, that are subscribing, I need it. Keep them coming. And the ones that are doing that, thank you so much. I have a blast doing it. And with all that being said, stay tuned because we're going to have some tattooing going on. So we'll see you on the other side. Cheers.